Today, we're gonna be transforming your food photos from looking like this to looking like this, using only your cell phone. Our goal today is to capture 3 killer photos that are diverse, show off the food you're enjoying, and who you're enjoying it with. So the first type of shot we're gonna take today is a flat lay. A flat lay is an overhead shot of all of your food, and it's good for showing all the type of food that you have, and it's good to get first before your food gets mushy. Before you even start thinking about your food, you're gonna wanna pick a great location to take photos of the food. You're not gonna wanna sit down at the first available spot. So choosing the best location means that you've got some decent light in your area and you've actually got a little bit of space around you to work with. So I've selected this spot right here, and I chose it because we're actually close to the window and it has a nice side light. If you're at a seated restaurant, you may need to ask your server to put you closer to the window or wait a little bit, but it's definitely worth it if you wanna get a good photo. Another reason why I chose to shoot this beside a window is so that I'm using just natural light. Usually in restaurants, there's these overhead lights that are artificial light. Artificial light is usually warm and kind of gross and isn't really that flattering for your food, where natural light is more neutral and it brings out the colors in your food better. So for this first flat lay, I'm gonna arrange the food in this patch of light here so that there is no shadows. I'm gonna make sure to try to put the food as close together as possible, because when I'm shooting down at it, it actually looks a lot further apart than you would expect. My goal with shooting a flat lay is to show a little bit of each dish to show the variety that you're gonna get when you order at this restaurant. I'm gonna snap a couple photos to test here. I don't know if I'm gonna use any of these or not. Because we chose this spot beside the window, we actually have the light coming in from the side, which means that we have these nice shadows and contrast that gives the food some shape, and it's not just flat. As well, you can see that my shadow appears in some of the images, so we just need to be careful while we're shooting to exclude that. So today, I'm gonna be sharing these photos on Instagram, which has a 4:3 aspect ratio, which is kind of like a rectangle. However, your phone gives you the options to shoot in square or in 16:9. It doesn't really matter what you shoot in. Just be aware of where you're gonna be sharing these photos so you can shoot them properly. When I'm framing these, I wanna make sure that I have as much color and detail and as much of the food in the photo as possible. So sometimes that means rotating your dishes. It means you can move stuff around. It's really up to you. As we're shooting, I can see the light is changing, so just be aware of that and you can move your dishes accordingly. You'll notice that I'm not shooting these photos sitting down in my seat. I've got up so I can move around a little bit more, and that's gonna allow me to get better photos because I'm not just limited to wherever I'm sitting. I think I got a couple shots that I'm happy with, so I'm actually gonna shoot each dish individually. When you're picking a location to shoot your flat lay on, make sure you consider the surface that you're working with. In this case, this isn't the most exciting background, so I could spice that up by adding sunglasses or some personal items, or maybe there's a napkin or something with texture in the area. If you do have the option to move your food around, look for a more exciting surface or some shadows or something with texture to make your food pop some more. So I actually like the texture on this. This isn't actually a countertop, but it's actually a nice surface, so I'm gonna snap a couple photos here. That's not too bad. Let me try it with a different dish. That looks better. I like how that looks. If you're shooting these photos on your iPhone, there's actually a little level on your phone that will pop up. It's those crosshairs right there, and they will show you if you're shooting these photos straight or not. As I'm shooting these, I notice that this white surface is reflective, so I don't know if these are gonna be the best photos. For this last flat lay, I'm gonna move these over here and shoot this a little bit differently. Okay, so I've put these near the edge of the table so that I can still shoot these from above, but I can also see myself and see my feet. This just gives us a few more options of how to shoot the food, and it's not your traditional flat lay shot. This next type of photo is a quarter angle shot, and I think these are usually the most flattering angles of food, and they're shot from the side, kind of like this. Cell phones don't take great photos when you're shooting photos directly into a light. They take a better photo when the light is shining on your object. Here's what a photo looks like of the food with the light shining on the object. And here's a photo of shooting into the light. So since our light is coming from this direction, we want to be shooting our photos this direction as well. Something else you want to consider is what's going to be in the background of your shot. Right here, there's nothing much exciting in the background, so I'm actually going to move these over here. Okay, just kidding. I'm actually going to move it over here because I like the background in this image better. I picked this spot because I like the blue in the background right here a little bit better. And so when I'm composing this shot, I'm not just randomly throwing the dishes onto the table. What I like to do is pick a focal point. Here, I'm gonna choose this dish and I'm gonna put it in the center of the table and use these other two dishes to lead your eye into the background, and they're not gonna be as important for this shot. Your eye's gonna see this dish first and then look at those second. So I'll snap a couple photos of that. I'm actually even gonna switch over to portrait mode. I don't know if this is gonna work, but ideally it's gonna blur out the background. I've also got this can of soda. I'm gonna pop it at the back, and it's ideally gonna give my composition some height at the back. Don't know if I like it there, maybe here. So here I'm trying to draw your eye with a little zigzag to the back. I'm gonna snap some photos closer and get some details of each dish. And let's use the exact same composition. We're just gonna switch where our plates are. Usually dishes have a good side and a not so good side. What I do is I rotate a dish around looking for the best side. It's not always obvious, sometimes you need to play with it. I think in this case, this side is the best side of this dish. Let's try to find the best angle for this dish. Don't think it's this one. I don't think it's here. I actually think it's like right in here somewhere. And if we shoot this on its own, I think it's kind of boring. I think it helps to have additional plates of food to make your composition more interesting. Yeah, don't be afraid to move your plates around and rearrange them to get the best angles and to get some variety. So the third type of shot that we're going to capture today is more of a lifestyle or POV shot. These are the kind of photos that are going to set you apart and require a little bit more creativity and playfulness. I usually leave these photos right until the end because I'm probably going to be touching the food or cutting it or poking it, and the food's going to be wrecked after this. I'm going to try taking some photos from my point of view of my fork going in. I see a big empty spot right there. Let's get that pointed towards me. Let's fill that empty spot. Let's try that again. That's kind of fun. When shooting with the cell phone, don't forget that you can tap to focus on what you want in focus. And if your image is too dark, you can tap and then swipe up to make your image brighter, or you can swipe down to make the image darker. Maybe picking up that dish. Let's swap those. Okay, so I'm doing picking up there. Empty spot right there. Let's move the drink over there. These are getting mushy. I think we waited a little too long, but you get the idea. Uh-oh. If you're lucky enough to have a friend or a spouse join you for the meal, it's always a good idea to try and snap some photos of them enjoying the dish. So let's try and get some photos of you. If you want to actually look like you're kind of about to scoop something, nice. That looks nice. Do you want to smile for us? So let's have you passing me a dish. Oh, where is it? Nice. Actually, I'm going to swap hands. See if that looks any better. That looks great. I'm going to try this with portrait. Put the focus on the dish. Maybe we can try cheersing. Awesome. Just wait for the people in the background. Great. It might be kind of nice to get your hands holding this dish. So if you want to hold the dish just like that, and let's move these dishes a little closer to give it a sense of space. That looks nice, and we've got a couple angles to work with here. This makes the food look more interesting than just sitting on the table. I think we got our 3 photos. It's time to edit them. I've gone ahead and narrowed down all of the images that we took down to 3 or 4. And I think we got some pretty good stuff today. Maybe you want to favorite them. In our case, I've put them into a folder so we can easily find them. I find going through the images can be helpful because when I'm shooting, I'm paying attention to the light, to what's in front of me, making sure I'm not bumping into other people. So there's details that I miss that I can make mental notes on to improve on the next time I'm out shooting. So for example, I kind of like this photo, but this section feels very plain to me. I easily could have just moved a plate of food into that open area to make it better. I'll just remember that for next time. There's also some images here where I missed the focus because I wasn't tapping on what I wanted in focus. And there's even a couple shots where I didn't lean back far enough to capture the whole surrounding. So here's the 4 images that I like the most, one from each section of shooting that we were doing. Right now I have 2 lifestyle ones. Those ones are usually my favorite. There's an unlimited amount of apps that you can edit your photos in. I personally like Visco and Lightroom, but I think we're going to save editing in those for a different day. Today, we're just going to be editing right in the iPhone software. So up at the top, we have the edit button, and along the bottom, we have all of the controls that will let us edit our image. When I'm approaching editing food, my goal is to try to make it about as true to life as I can. I don't want any weird greens or purples or any heavy filters. So looking at this first photo, it is not too bad. I think it's a little bit warm. Make it a little bit cooler. It looks a touch green, so let's add some purple. Let's bring the saturation of this up a little bit. The vibrance, still looking a little warm. Give this some contrast. In my images, I want a good amount of contrast and color. Last thing I'm gonna do is crop this. I think cropping can be very important. Cropping things out of your photo can be just as important as putting things into your photo. So in the bottom corner, you can see I have the shadow of my iPhone from when I was shooting. I wanna crop that out if possible. And I'm actually gonna rotate this a little bit. And there we go. Here's before, and here's after. Next photo, we're gonna do pretty much the same. This photo's a little too blue, so we're gonna warm it up a little bit. We could do an entire video just on editing, so I'm not gonna talk about it a ton here. I just wanna enforce that if you capture something great while you're shooting it, it's gonna be so much easier to edit it. And let's crop this. That looks good to me. Here's before, and here's after. Quick edit on this. Slight crop on this one to center our subject. I wished while I was shooting, I noticed this fork down here. I think it's a little bit distracting. It's not the end of the world. Another thing to take into consideration when shooting. Here's before, and here's after. It's very slight, it just makes our subject pop a little bit more. I do have a fourth bonus photo. Brighten it up a little bit, add some contrast, some saturation, crop that in a little bit, cut out that person's legs. I think we've captured a diverse collection of images. I think these are going to be great for social media because they each show something a little bit different about our food experience. I hope you feel more equipped to take some decent images of your food. I've given you 3 approaches to taking photos of your food, but these can also be used in any type of photography, not just food. Today, we shot everything on our cell phones. We didn't need to bring any cameras or accessories or even lights to make our images look beautiful. The first time that you go taking photos of your food, it's probably not going to look amazing. I know mine wasn't. Everything's gonna get better with practice, so don't give up. If you do go out and take some shots, don't forget to tag me in them. I'd love to see them.